All right, today we're going to dive deep into the story of a man named Cillian. He starts out as a landless peasant and transforms into an absolute predator of power. And his journey, which is a wild one, takes him from a medieval world of hunger all the way to the concrete jungle of the 1970s. And what it reveals is a really chilling truth. The basic architecture of exploitation, well, it's timeless.
So, our story kicks off in this place of hunger they call the Hollow. Now, when war clouds gather, a peasant named Cillian doesn't see a threat to his people. Nope. Driven by what he calls his honest greed, he sees it as a call to opportunity, his one big chance to claw his way out of a mediocre life.
And you really have to get this concept of honest greed, because it's the engine behind every single thing Cillian does. For him, the world isn't some community you're supposed to serve. It's just a system of questionable means that's ripe for exploitation. Chaos isn't a threat, it's a market opening up. And so it begins. This is the start of his rise as a predator. Armed with this incredibly brutal philosophy, Cillian starts this ruthless climb, not just to survive, but to completely conquer the very system that was designed to keep him down.
His education and ruthlessness? Man, it is swift. First, he finds a dark mentor who drills it into him that the world is just a system waiting to be gamed. From there, he learns to treat every single person as a tool, every alliance as just another transaction. And for the grand finale, the ultimate act of self-interest, he actually kills his own teacher, because he truly believes that only through his own noble power can the world be run the right way.
Now here we get to a really defining moment. Deep in a dark cave, he finds an incredible treasure. But to keep it, he has to make a choice. It's a simple one. Really, his soul or his silver.
And he chooses the silver. He literally uses the bodies of innocent people as a human shield to protect his prize. This single horrifying act is what begins the harrowing of his soul, and it proves without a doubt that there is no line he won't cross.
Okay, so Cillian gets everything he wanted, right? He gets the power, but the price? Oh, the price is steep. He rides back to the Hollow, his bags overflowing with silver, but the victory he imagined isn't waiting for him. He finds no cheers, no celebrations. All he finds are the cold, hard stares of the dispossessed. What's left of the families and allies he betrayed. And they aren't looking at him like a lord, they're hunting him as a traitor.
So what's his move? To survive, he essentially dies to the world of men. He becomes the ghost of the woods, this solitary predator ruling from a high stone tower, basically a prisoner in the very fortress he built to be free.
And that's the tragic punchline, isn't it? All that wealth he craved turns out to be a tainted elixir. It's poisoned by how he got it. It bought him a fortress, sure, but it cost him his connection to everyone and everything. It brought him zero peace.
But just when you think he's settled into this lonely, self-made prison, a great mist, the temporal abyss, snatches him right out of his tower, and the story takes this completely unbelievable turn.
I mean, one minute he's this feared ghost, this master of two worlds in his cold stone fortress. And the very next, this temporal abyss rips him out of time and drops him smack in the middle of a concrete jungle of glass and steel. We're talking 1970s America.
And this is what throws him into a state of metaphysical limbo. Suddenly, his ancient gold is worthless. His titles mean nothing. All that power he killed for is completely, utterly obsolete.
You know, the best way to think about it is like this. He's a predatory shark that's been lifted out of the ocean and dropped into a high-tech aquarium. Still a perfect killer, but totally out of place in a world that can never, ever truly join.
So he has to adapt or die, right? He goes through this sort of second initiation. He's forced to trade his sword for the predatory tactics of modern industry. And in doing so, he proves that his greed, it's a universal language. And what's wild is, as he starts studying 1970s America, he sees these eerie mirrors of his old life. The widespread distrust in institutions, that's just a new market for chaos. Giant corporate structures, that's just the new feudalism. And mass media, wow, that's a weapon of control, a technological magic far more powerful than any siege he ever witnessed.
And this chart here, it just lays it out perfectly. You can see how his anti-hero's journey maps onto both eras, almost one-to-one. The special world of war becomes a world of economic and political crisis.
His old mentor's ruthless survivalism finds its modern twin in corporate rational egoism. The shocking realization for him is that the architecture of exploitation hasn't changed at all.
And all of this realization, it leads to his final and honestly most chilling transformation. He becomes the eternal outsider, a true master of no world.
He basically becomes a living jack-o'-lantern, like the old myth of Stingy Jack, who was denied entry into both heaven and hell. Cillian is physically stuck in the 20th century, but his soul is forever anchored in the 12th. He belongs absolutely nowhere.
And this is the absolutely terrifying irony of his whole journey. He discovers that all his so-called villainous traits, his talent for manipulation, his bottomless greed, his total lack of remorse, these are the very skills that modern institutions actively reward. His villainy is now a marketable skill set. So in the end, his great victory is a hollow one. It's a Pyrrhic victory. He finally understands that the hollow he spent his life trying to escape was never a place. It was a state of being, an emptiness that he carried with him across time. And that leaves us with one last, lingering question. What happens when a monster doesn't just survive the modern world, but discovers that the whole thing is actually his perfect hunting ground? Cillian's story becomes a dark mirror, forcing us to ask, what kind of world have we built if a medieval predator can take one look at it and finally, truly, feel at home?